Right, now hello, I'm recording a video and this video is going to be about two things, or well, really two things. And that's because I went to a car boot. Now this is the moral of the story because I love car boots. I'm not saying I go every week though to a car boot. I'm not like some people who probably get up every Sunday or whatever to go to one of their local nearest car boots. We do have a local one near here on a Saturday, but I don't always go because it's not always big. And I know on a Sunday they have them in the town centre near there, basically, but I don't always go. But I do like a car boot, so any chance that I do get to go to a car boot, I enjoy them. Mostly I do go around looking for records and CDs and that kind of thing, but I go to look for picture frames. I know, sad, but he does that for a reason anyway, so he basically looks for picture frames, and sometimes if my mum goes, you know, she might pick up one or two bits, but it's basically, for any Americans that don't know, it's like a flea market, I believe. This is just simply where on a field or in a car park or something, people have their cars and they set up a stall and sell a load of unwanted junk. Stuff that they no longer want anymore. Sometimes at a car boot you might get a burger van or an ice cream van or something, because that is the aim of what it is. Very rarely will you get many market trader stalls, because that's not what a car boot is always about. But I do like to go to a car boot. I specifically don't like to go to really, really big ones. Partly because it's not about the money. It's not about thinking, oh, it's too big and it's about the money. But partly because you never know. I mean, in some cases it's because maybe people don't sell things cheap. I know you expect me to go around a car boot and get bargains, but you know, a lot of people, in my own humble opinion, sometimes go to a car boot and they sell stuff way over the top, like CDs. I mean, I've been around car boots and people are saying, oh, I want like £2 a CD or £3 a CD or £4. And I'm thinking, what? Even for a pound, it can be quite expensive. I mean, I would buy a CD at a pound if it was really, really good and I really, really wanted it, and it was something worth that. But usually I don't normally pay any more than a pound, because you can go around car boots and people will sell CDs for like 25p or 50p, which is all well and true, you know, and there's no reason why that can't be, you know, that's not a bad price. Or somebody might say 3 for a pound or something like that, which is great, you know, and I buy into that because that is cheap, and that's how much most CDs are really worth. I mean, some CDs though you don't always find at car boots. I mean, you'll find lots like deluxe editions of CDs and various types of CDs don't always get sold at car boots. I understand that because people buy them for a reason and they don't want to part with them. So it's not a case of somebody saying, well, I've got this like 20 box set of CDs of like Elvis Presley for sale, because it's very likely they're not going to be sold very much, if at all. But there are obviously the generalisation of a lot of CDs do get sold though. You know, somebody might just have a collection of CDs that they've been given and they don't no longer want them, and it might be some odd Northern Soul CD in there, you know, a single disc or a double disc of say Northern Soul music or whatever. You know, people sell compilations like Old Now albums and don't realise how much they're really worth, and just think, oh, it's only like now 14 or something like that on CD, or now 20 or something like that, and they'll sell them and that, and think 50p, you know, something like that, which I understand. But the other moral part of this story is you never know what you're going to turn up at a car boot. And when it comes to records, not necessarily always CD, but when it comes to records, vinyl records, I do take plunge in buying some obscure and stuff that probably people don't know, and they might well look at it and say, I'm not buying it because I don't know who it is, that kind of thing. And I went to a car boot the other week. It was an off chance because my mum basically was on a Sunday and her friend said she'd go to a car boot in Peterborough that they was having. She asked mum if she wanted to go. Now luckily there was room for me to go in the car. My dad had already gone to a car boot. This was a different one my mum and friend was going to, and I said, would I be able to come? Now luckily, if my mum's friend had not gone to this car boot, I would not have gone. My mum would not have gone, and I would not have got this record that I basically bought. I bought a couple of records. They were about 3 for a pound or something like that, and I thought, right, I'm gonna buy a Slade, one of Paul Da Vinci. I know who Paul Da Vinci is, and I know Slade. Paul Da Vinci was in the Rubettes, and Slade, obviously one of the greatest glam rock bands of all time, in that sense, or possibly even rock band of all time. Well, I bought a record basically by Big Carrott. Now, it's on the EMI label. The song is called Blackjack. Now, it came out in 1973. Now, I didn't really look at much about it when I was buying it. I just thought, Big Carrott, Blackjack, don't know it, I'll buy it. When I got home, basically I found it was written and composed by Marc Bolan, and it was produced by Marc Bolan, I believe. Now, before I tell you how much it's worth, I know you're all waiting for that. You're all thinking, yeah, it's probably not worth that much. Well, anyway, before I do say how much it's worth, the moral of this story, not necessarily this one about buying it at the car boot, but the other moral of this story is that Big Carrott is actually T-Rex. T-Rex did an experiment in 1973. Marc Bolan thought, I've got an experiment to do, because I want to know if my name sells music. Now, other people may have done that in the past, but I don't know of anybody doing that, apart from when they've done music under their own name, but under a different name. But they haven't really done it in the basics of, does it sell music? What T-Rex decided to do, they thought, right, we're called T-Rex, and because of our name and the music we make, we sell music, right? So we're quite popular. 1973, and they were quite popular, and they could be played on big radio stations and get into the charts, have #1 hits, and various other things, which is not a problem. Okay, I get that. But they thought it'd be a good idea to make a record under another name. Don't label it as T-Rex or Marc Bolan or anything. We could essentially say that it was produced by Marc Bolan and that. So they could pretend that Marc Bolan's done a piece of music for somebody. And that's what they did. They released it under the name of Big Carrott to see if, by using that name and obviously, would it sell music? Because people know, if people don't know it's T-Rex, would it sell? Basically, it didn't do anything. So that meant that it didn't matter what Marc Bolan did. As long as people knew it was Marc Bolan and T-Rex, then it could sell music. But if they didn't, and they thought, oh, it's only written by Marc Bolan or only produced by Marc Bolan, then maybe it's not that good. It might be a good song, but it doesn't mean say it's going to be brilliant and it's something worth buying, and most people would say, meh, it's whatever, yeah. But anyway, so that's what the moral of that story bit is. And basically, the moral of the story is I paid 30p. Three singles for £1, and it worked out at 30p. And I went home and I checked over the... well, first of all, I would have checked over the internet, because I do that. I go into Discogs and other websites to see if I can find information about what it is. But before I do that, we do have a price guide, the Rare Record Price Guide. And upon looking at it, I was pleasantly surprised it's worth £50. Yes, £50. Now, it's not like antiques or anything like that, because antiques can be worth thousands of pounds, and records are not generally worth not many are always worth thousands of pounds. I mean, collecting records can be an investment, but not always in some cases, because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of records are not worth as much as you think. And that's the problem. I really should do a blog. I should do a good thing about blogging about collecting records and that. And that is it. Like I said, I don't think a lot of records are worth money. It seems to be that because people are buying records more now and they're getting popular again, that everybody thinks they're worth money, but they're not. I buy, or basically me and my dad, we read the Rare Record Price Guide all the time, and we read Record Collector all the time. So we're always clued up on how much records are worth, and there's a lot of artists out there who can sell millions of records, but their records are worth nothing, basically. So if you try and flog them, don't expect too much for them, because they're not worth as much as you think. Examples like Donny Osmond. His records are not worth anything. The Osmonds, not worth anything. Some of the early stuff in the 60s that the Osmond brothers did may fetch 10, 15, 20 odd pound per record. Fair enough. But I wouldn't expect something like that to be... And this is on my mum's side, so my mum collecting Donny Osmond and Osmond records isn't really an investment. I'm a Shaky Stevens fan, a big Shaky fan, and I don't think Shaky Stevens records are worth as much as some of the others. Most of the stuff that's worthy of Shaky Stevens is basically anything in the 70s. By the time you get to 1980, it's sort of waning down, and the 80s stuff is absolutely not rare anymore. They're not really collectible. My dad is a big Carly fan. I like Carly, but my dad's the Carly man. So yeah, Carly Minogue would fetch on a good price for some of her rarer records. So she's the more collectible one out of all three. But yeah, so I bought this at a car boot. Didn't really know what it was. It doesn't sound too bad, but coming home and thought it's worth 50 quid. What chances of that? And that is a good thing when you can go down to a car boot and find stuff like that. And I know my dad's done that before. He bought like a normal soul record for £1, pointed system sending back on Atlantic Records, which is way before they made hit records like I'm So Excited and Automatic and Slow Hands, and they basically made this normal soul record. My dad bought it for £1, and it's worth something like £100. So it's great what you can find. But like I said, records are not generally worth as much as, say, a lot of antiques. There are some records that do fetch in their thousands, £25,000 or whatever. But apart from that, there's not really records that are going overboard that compared to, say, many antiques and things. But I'll leave it there. Just wanted to share my love that I do like to go to car boots and what I might find at car boots and various things and bits and pieces. So until then, bye for now.